people, and if you're watching live, checking us out on YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast provider, you are most definitely my people. Welcome to another episode of Botched, Bots, and Chair Shots. I'm your host, a chef by trade and a mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and joining me tonight, making his Botched, Bots, and Chair Shots debut, he is one of the executive producers and graphic extraordinaires coming from Off the Top Media. He is Jamey Rose. Jamey, how are you, brother?
What's up, man? I just want to say, Will, thank you for the opportunity. The boss, and not sure if I met you yet, but thank you all guys for allowing me to come on and grace this space with you tonight.
You're talking about the other guy here, the one directly below me on screen. That just happens to be the one, the only. He represents the Bloodline Network. Put the ones up. He is the host of Cage My IQ. He is the resident New Japan Pro Wrestling and MMA specialist. Most importantly, he is the one, the only Dirt Sheet Dan Bakley. Dan, how are you?
I am great, lying in the weeds, doing what I do best.
Just getting crazy. You're busy all the time. Cam, what's up, brother? Thanks for stopping by.
What's going on, guys?
Well, weirdly didn't introduce y'all before.
That was really weird. I didn't. I'm usually really good about, hey, this is so-and-so, or this is so-and-so. Like, thanks for, introducing everybody. I'm like, fuck it, we're going live.
Yes, sir.
And, as always, perched upon her iron throne in the boss bitch's corner, she is the Beyonce to my Hovis. She is the Bonnie to my Clyde. She is the brains behind the operation. She's the boss bitch Miss Elsie. Well, how are you?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
Busy.
Well, since we're all here, we're at present accounted for. 10 fingers, 10 toes, all of that nonsense. The conversation is always fun. Even if it is a Monday night and we're not running on Sunday, I'm still going to ask the same fucking question because it's who I am and what I do. Jamey, it's your first time, so I'm going to ask. What has you pissed off for greatness this week? What has you the most worked up in pro wrestling, good, bad, or indifferent?
You know what grinds my gears? Forbidden Door 2 is coming up. And it's in the great land known as the home of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Scotiabank Arena. Making it out the first round, actually, which is great and all. But anyways, the IWGP title is on the line that night with the champ Sonata. And who is he facing? Green Boy Jack Perry. Why? You know who should have been there to challenge for that IWGP title? Who? Give me a few seconds. None other than Jeff freaking Jarrett himself. Third generation wrestler, promoter himself. He's had 81 different championship reigns throughout his freaking career. 6 of them being the NWA's World Heavyweight Championship. That all well known. 10 pounds of gold. A former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And Intercontinental Champion, which was, he said himself, the greatest assistant general manager in WWE history. So with that being said, that was the man for the job and not Jack Perry, who has done absolutely really nothing since coming into the company. They've given him chance after chance after chance, and he just hasn't been to rise to the level. So that's what has me pissed off for greatness here tonight.
Before I let Dan or Al tee off on anything they want to say in response to that, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean you don't think Jack Perry's one of the pillars of AEW, Jamey?
Not at all.
Who would you put in his place?
Ricky Starks.
What a fucking pick, my guy. I'm a huge Ricky Starks fan, man. Like, since his days in the NWA, and we all know I'm a mark for the NWA. Another Tuesday, another NWA interview.
Into the fire, Dokken. That's what got me through the pandemic right there, brother.
See, that's how I knew you were my guy.
Yes,
Ginger Jaxo says -1. He's keeping score. I'm a Tennessee guy. Born and raised here. Memphis wrestling was the territory. The Lawlers and the Jarretts pretty much ran the state, at least the western and middle half of it. So, I'm here for Double J. Giving him, I don't think the IWGP World title, even if he didn't win it, would hurt to have Jeff Jarrett in the title picture. So, I'm not necessarily against it. I think Jack Perry should be involved in a different story. I think he needs to be involved with somebody that is, I don't want to say on his level, because he's not necessarily not on Sonata's level, but I think he needs to be with somebody that's, a recently graduated young lion. Bakley would know these guys. The Pure title's a perfect example. Jaxpo threw that in there. But I think the World Heavyweight title picture is just not the right scene for Jack Perry quite yet.
Not yet. He'll get there, though.
Bakley, you got anything throwing on that?
I think there's a method to the madness. So, of course, I watch both companies. I know what's going on in both. And it was really going to be hard to give somebody to Sonata that made sense because at the end of the day, Sonata's going to win the match regardless because of where he's at. Ever since he redid his gimmick and he came into Five Guys, he's been kind of unstoppable. He's won every match. He has not got pinned yet. Whoever they get, you can't have somebody and kind of knock them down. Like, I thought a perfect guy would have been before a couple weeks ago was going to be Adam Cole, but then he went into a thing with MJF, and I was like, okay, take him out of the mix because you can't have him going into a match like this and lose and then be like, okay, he can go face MJF and be realistically able to beat MJF after losing to Sonata. And I ran through all the guys. I'm like, Jack Perry's the perfect guy because he's going to give you a great match. He's going to lose. And I feel like he's in the process of kind of turning heel anyway. And when I saw Luchasaurus win on Saturday, that just confirmed everything to me. I'm like, he's going to get kind of jealous that Luchasaurus won the belt. He's best friends now with Hook. He's going to wind up turning on him at some point because he said this is the summer of Jungle Hook. That's not going to last that long. It's going to get into that jealous phase that everybody's winning and then he's losing, and that's when you're going to see him finally get rid of the Jungle Boy gimmick. It's just going to be Jack Perry, and he's going to be a heel. And I think it starts here. You get him to lose this match or have a wonderful match because I don't think any match that he does is really bad. He does a great job. I think everybody just hates the gimmick of him being dressed up as a Jungle Boy and not just a wrestler. I think it's kind of outdated. But I like the match. It's just hard to pick who would you place in that spot. Ricky Starks would have been a good one, but I feel like he is kind of placed in that Owen Hart tournament. To me, he's like the front runner to win that. That would have been my only other guy I would have thought of.
Makes sense.
Does anybody even really care about Hook? Like, that title he has, like, nobody cares about it. Like, like, you're there because of your daddy. Like, that's the only reason. Nobody else cares about you but your daddy.
1,000% agree with that take. He has that job because who Taz is, not because of who Hook is. Bakley, you're up. What has you pissed off for greatness, brother?
This is a good thing for me. They had the debut of Collision, and we got all these guys come back. It made me happy. Like, we've been wondering, where's Miro? Where's Andrade? Where is Scorpio Sky, who has been away for over a year? We get all of them back, and it looks like, okay, maybe this is why they held them out. They wanted to hold them out for the new show. You get 2 extra hours. You can use them, and you can show them off once again. And what do? You get a package for Scorpio. You get a great match from Andrade against Buddy Matthews. They had, to me, the best match on the show. And you have a feud for Andrade with possibly LIJ versus the House of Black, 3-on-3 for the titles. That's going to be great if they plan it right. You got Miro, who had a squash match, but you made him look like $1 million. Mm-hmm. And potentially you can move forward with that. And I'm hoping, I hope they don't place Scorpio back in the TNT title picture. I hope they push him into the international title, and you get Scorpio Sky being the guy to defeat Orange Cassidy, because that's a new match that has been made, a guy that Orange Cassidy hasn't faced, and the people like Scorpio Sky, so he would make as a great guy to have come back and then win the title off of him, knowing that Orange Cassidy is on his, I think he's defended the title 22 times. But I like the fact that they bring all these guys back at the same time. It's kind of a refresher. I'm just hoping that they do it right. And then with this second show, there's no excuses now. And then on top of that, I like the announcing team of Nigel McGuinness and Kevin Kelly bringing back that Ring of Honor feel with them doing that almost like 10, 15 years ago. They did a good job. I think the only negative was when JR came on and he sounded drunk, but that was because of him getting into that accident early in the day and trying to still work. And now he's taking time off. So I liked everything about what Collision did on Saturday.
I can echo that. Jamie, what you got? What you think about Collision?
My thing about Collision was I came with it with not a so high expectation because I know what AEW has a habit of doing a lot of the times. But I will say I was fairly pleased with it. It felt like an actual wrestling show compared to what they throw on a normal Wednesday night or a Friday night, which the Friday night show is absolutely horrendous. But
facts.
I will say about this is that, you could tell there's definitely more of a more from, a certain camp within AEW that is putting their input into the show. And it's really turned out to be more of the more traditional wrestling. There's more ideology. You actually see bigger guys on your television screen. You see, that Punk promo was awesome. My only complaint about it, and the matches were good too. My only complaint, though, is from a production side. The audio levels kind of didn't seem right with me. You didn't hear a lot of the announcers. You heard a lot of, entrance audio, a lot of crowd noise, a little too much of the crowd noise. They tried to, maybe juicing that up a little bit, but to a point where it kind of ruined it for me as a viewer that I couldn't barely hear the announcers. So that's kind of where my gripe is with it, more from the production side. But from the wrestling standpoint, they put on a hell of a first show. So,
Al, wasn't it during Collision where I was complaining to you? I said it sounded like the house audio was coming through the microphones of the speakers versus like the live feed getting pumped into the production truck. That was really weird because I literally said the exact same thing. I was like, this sounds like we're getting live in-house sound versus like the mic'd from inside the venue and then given like the live feed from the mic. It sounded like we were just getting like the fucking boom mic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my boomstick.
Punk and Friends was good though. That's what I'm going to call Collision is Punk and Friends. But I agree with Jax though. Like Punk should have done his promo at the end, but Punk can't ever do his promo at the end. He always does his promos first because old man gotta go home, go bad.
He was in the main event though, so he still was there for 2 hours no matter
what.
But
he has to be that first thing. Like even like on Dynamite, he was always the very first thing.
You know why? You know why he's the very first thing, Al?
Can I?
Go ahead, Jamie.
I'll say this because the thing about it is you're going to have Punk there. Punk is what at least supposedly is supposed to drive the ratings for that show. So when you turn on your television set on night at 6 o'clock Central or whatever time it's on, that's going to be the first thing you see, and you're going to be like, oh, listen here, there's CM Punk on my screen, there's wrestling on my screen. That's what the people are going there for. So when they when you watch Monday Night Raw and you tune in at the 9 o'clock hour, and what do you see most of the time? You see Cody Rhodes, because when they're getting people to change their channels and they're flipping, they see, oh, there's a star on my television. I'm gonna watch that. So,
bingo, Jamie.
The Cody countdown.
Jamie just said everything I was gonna do. It's like the old school mantra: if you want to put butts in seats, start with your biggest draw. So it's the first thing they see and the last thing you see. Baby, Memphis wins everywhere. That's why they've been doing it for 50 years.
And they were in Chicago with his hometown, so it's like they're already chanting from the beginning. So they're gonna try and take advantage of what they did last time. And you heard the chants there; they're chanting him very loud. You got that promo out of the way, and then he didn't have the match for an hour and a half, so it was kind of like a good spacing. Because if you try to do it after the match, I feel like it's not going to come off the same way as if you do it in the beginning, and then you let it soak in a little bit, and then he has the match. At the end.
Fair.
Al?
I do appreciate the subtle little like jabs at the Elite. It was mint. Like yes.
It wasn't overdone, and that
No.
was the beauty of it.
And it got approved by the upper management. So he didn't just pull it out of nowhere.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate that it wasn't overdone. It was just like little teeny tiny little like worded kind of jabs.
Mostly, yes, guys.
So,
Al, what has you pissed off? For
honestly, I'm not super pissed off about anything because they finally fixed the women's belt situation. So I'm pretty happy camper.
Well, good. Keith on Twitter sent me one. I've got one from a mail-in, but I'm super unprofessional, so I didn't save it. It's still in my DMs. He said, not exactly of hot take, but in terms of what has me pissed off the most in wrestling this week is Charlotte appearing out of nowhere and getting a title shot, but somehow still being pushed as a babyface. He said, I also ranted hard about it on our stream, but he's absolutely over all of the CM Punk stuff that we were just talking about. He was just a good, bad, or indifferent, it being a work, it being a shoot. He was pissed off about it. But the Charlotte thing is the most important. Keith from the UW pod, thank you. Charlotte just kind of interjecting himself or herself into the women's title scene. Like, what do you guys think about that? Do you think she should have started kind of in the back of the line, middle of the line, built a feud, built a story? Or do you think Charlotte Flair's big enough that she can just walk in and go, this is my title now?
What happened before? What happened before that? What happened in the segment before she came back?
They were giving her the new title belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before that, it was Bianca going to Adam Pearce saying, I want this. You're giving her a new belt. And he was like, don't touch her. I'm guaranteeing you the next spot. And she was like, okay, I'll stay out. And then Charlotte comes and puts him in a predicament where he's like, oh, upper management wants this match. And it pisses Bianca off and whatnot. So you know what's going to happen is Bianca's going to interfere in the match, cost Charlotte the match. There's going to be a thing between her and Charlotte, and Bianca's going to turn heel. We've been waiting for this for a while. This is what's going to happen. Everybody is making a fuss about Charlotte getting the title match. She's not going to win. Right. If she wins, it would be a big mistake unless they do like her versus Bianca. But I feel like Asuka's going to retain because of Bianca, and then you're going to get a whole thing with Charlotte and Bianca, and then Asuka could face somebody at SummerSlam and have like a couple months of
it'll be a triple threat watch.
Yeah, or that. And then somehow in that, Charlotte will kind of screw out Bianca, but then Charlotte won't win anyway. And Asuka will get the pin. I think it's all from the management standpoint to make that turn from a babyface to a heel for Bianca. Because she needs it. She needs it.
But my just plain devil's advocate, who would be the babyface in all of that?
I think Charlotte would. I think they're pushing. I think Bianca needs to make the heel turn. I think Asuka is a tweener. Depending on who she's wrestling will determine if she's a heel or a babyface.
And so is Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I think Charlotte is... I could say that for Charlotte.
I think they wanted Asuka to be a heel, but because the crowd is on her side, it's kind of like, oh, now we got to kind of make her like a babyface by default because we're already turning Bianca, and then now you're bringing back Charlotte. Charlotte's supposed to be something, but it's like she could be a babyface, get booed, but then at the same time, people are tired of Bianca as champ, so they could cheer her just to cheer her. So, like, yeah.
Yes, and then, on that SmackDown side, on the women's division, you're getting pretty heel heavy, but, and lurking in the background a little bit, you have pretty much a baby face pretty much going to rise out of Io Sky.
Yeah.
That will absolutely be interjected into, that side of that title picture. So it's gonna be intriguing to watch how they juggle that situation for sure.
Agreed. I really want to see Charlotte and Bianca together. I don't care how it happens, but I would like to see a storyline between the two of them. Because I think it'll be a banger, because they're both so good.
Imagine that being a match and not involving the title.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. Like, neither one of them need the title, because they're both so amazing. Is it cool when one of them has it? Absolutely. But they're, one of the few that we talk about that don't need a title. They're amazing either way.
Correct.
I agree with that. My pissed off for greatness kind of piggybacks into the first few news and rumors for the night, and we've been kind of hitting so heavy on Collision. It'll be kind of cool because I'll say this, we'll talk about it, and then we can kind of blow through some of the Collision stuff because, like I said, I knew that was going to be the hottest topic this week with it being the shiny new toy. My pissed off for greatness is one of those, it has me worked up in the best way fucking possible moments, and that's CM Punk. And those of you who listen to this show frequently and know me, I'm not a huge Punk guy. I think CM Punk the wrestler is great. I think Phil Brooks the person is super toxic. But what got me about this promo, there were a few things that got me in my feels. The only thing softer than you are the wrestlers you like. Loved that line. Chef's kiss for that one. Fantastic line. The counterfeit bucks, turning it, whether it's a shoot or a work, I loved that. The whole nobody, I'm not leaving my boots. What's up, noob? Thanks for stopping by. I'm not leaving my boots in the ring until somebody's big enough to fill them. Like, that was gorgeous. And then, this is the piece of it that has me most excited. Is everybody's talking about Kenta wanting the money for the match. Kenta's original comment was, I'm coming for the bag. I want the bag. I'm coming for my bag. You know what I mean? He used that terminology like 3 different times, and then CM Punk shows up in the middle of the ring with a fucking red bag that we know has the AEW title in it. So I'm like, give me more Punk, and I can't believe I'm saying those words. You know what I mean? It's 2023, and somehow I have become a Will Ospreay guy, a Kenny Omega fan, and I've said, fuck it, I want more Phil Brooks in my life. I don't know how I've got here, but here I am as a wrestling fan in 2023.
He's a cult personality, and as Eric Bischoff says it best, controversy does create cash, and it also creates intrigue, and that's why your eyes are so glued to it.
And to think on Wednesday, the Kenny Omega and the Bucks won't be there. They filmed like backstage promos for them, so there's an idea that Punk might even be on Dynamite because they're not going to be there. And if there's ever a time to make that last minute push to get a Kenta versus CM Punk at Forbidden Door, Wednesday would be that time. Once I saw that bag and he didn't pull a title out of it because he was calling himself the uncrowned champ, I'm like, that's perfect, because not only are you calling yourself the uncrowned champ without showing a belt, because then that'd be too much. Mm-hmm. It was just the idea of him never losing the title. But on top of that, like you said, of the post where Kenta was referring to the bag and not money, just won the bag, and then him pulling it out was just like double perfect. It was just coming at everything that people were saying, coming at the idea that he didn't want the match, and then Kenta was like, I didn't want the match, I just want the bag, like if it's not going to happen, I'm not in it. Like, I'm with you on that. So, they're doing something. And I was like, if they don't do that match, there's something wrong with everything going on, because that would be a perfect matchup. They have the same finisher. They're both kind of like hitting at it without even saying it.
Jackson says, Will, what are you smoking, bro? I need some. Absolutely, Jax. I'll meet you halfway. Jacksonville and Nashville. We can just, what is Augusta, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, somewhere halfway. We'll make it happen. Valdosta. Travis, you love people from Chicago, Will. Just admit it. I don't love very many people at all. It just coincidentally, over the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of people that I do love now all happen to be from Chicago. I don't think it was on purpose. And Shadow's... I think Shadow loves Allison now, which is cool. I'm into that. Mommy Will and Daddy Allison. So it's like I'm the Rhea in that relationship. I would be the Dom and you're the Rhea.
Go right ahead.
Shadow says Cage Bakley looks good too. So let's kind of dive into it. Like I said, we've already hit some Collision stuff. We've kind of all said our piece about it. Yay, Punk's back. The Bucks. Okay, the counterfeit Bucks stuff. You guys know now, the Young Bucks kind of own Twitter because they don't really tweet. They change their bio and it's like, hey, new bio, everybody, and then their page gets 1,000 fucking views, 100,000 views because everybody's like, what does their bio say? The Bucks clapped back on Punk by changing their bio, guys, to say if this was 2018, we would already have a counterfeit Buck shirt made. What do you guys think about the Bucks playing into it? Jamie, I'm going to lead you off on this one. With the Bucks clapping back, is this just feeding the fire for the whole work shoot thing?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm loving every single moment of it. They're going to keep doing the separate things. They're going to make it act like the Bucks are trying to be the peaceful ones, trying to be like, okay, I'm not going to do this. We're going to, have our silent clapbacks. We're going to try to be the bigger guy. They're going to have CM Punk try to be the guy to instigate it. And at the end of the day, you're going to end up having CMFTR versus the Elite somewhere huge show down the line. And it's going to be, mark my words, the biggest money match in AEW history to that point. And it will absolutely knock the roof off of whatever venue they're at. But at the end of the day, they're going to do business. It's all about making money. They're going to put the pride aside, if there even is any. And they're going to make it work.
Thank you, Shadow. We love you. Bakley, what do you think about the Bucks clapping back?
I think it's great, and like he said, and I think you don't want to waste it right away by being like, oh, let's shoot right into it. You want to let it simmer a little bit. You want to let it soak in for a while. You want to get the people invested. You want the people to talk about it. Be like, oh, they're just doing this and he's doing that. They're far away from each other, not talking about each other, so that eventually when they do come head-to-head finally, you get everybody into it. Because if you do it right now, right away, you're going to catch people by surprise. They're not going to be ready for it. They're not going to be clamoring for it. That's what you want. At the end of the day, eventually you want that Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus CM Punk and FTR. That's the 3-on-3 match that you're looking for. Everybody will be into it. I don't care if it's 6 months. I don't care if you wait a year. Just wait a little bit of time. Let the AEW Collision get its feet. Let CM Punk get acclimated. Let them get their identity straight, and everybody pick what side that they want, and then you hit them then. So, but like right now, it's good. You let them do each thing.
Shadow says the Bucks need to stop getting high on their own supply. My boy Josh, Scissor Me Daddy Just, he says it's all a work. And Noob says, the crowd on AEW Collision just even chanting, fuck the Elite. So, I think it's going to be very much a market thing with these guys. Al, what'd you think about the Bucks? Back.
We all know, or unless you're new here, I am, or I guess I should say for those who are new here, I am not a fan of Anime DX.
Anime DX.
Or Kenny Omega.
Hey, whoa.
I don't like Kenny Omega. There are reasons. I don't like Kenny Omega. Regardless, I 100% would totally wear a counterfeit Bucks t-shirt.
Fuck yeah.
I really, really need that shirt. Like, real bad. Because I'd wear the fuck out of it. But yeah, I definitely think at some point it's a work. There was, and I'm sure you're going to talk about the ESPN interview where, we've all heard about the ESPN interview where Punk said that, their lawyers basically said that, he can't talk to...
He reached out to them, and when he reached out to them, their attorneys were like, don't talk to us, we're mad.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they said.
I don't know. I feel like, work or not, to me, it makes the Bucks look, and Kenny Omega look like a bunch of fucking crybabies. it's been 10 months. Like, let's move on.
Agreed. Moving on. Bakley, this is for you. It's one of a couple New Japan topics. Kevin Kelly. Good old Uncle Dave Meltzer is reporting that his New Japan contract is up. He's out. He's going to be on some tour dates, doing some pop-up shows. But the longevity with the company, they're thinking that he's kind of 86th in Japan, and he's going to be coming back stateside. Collision, he's booked for multiple Collision dates as is. Do you think Kevin Kelly's the right move for Saturday Night Fight Night?
I love everything Kevin Kelly. Like, the report came out, he's going to be doing the G1 Climax, so he's going to be gone for a month. And then, other than the World Tag League in October, November, where he'll be gone for another month, he's basically going to be doing everything for New Japan from home. They always film in Japanese, and then a day later, the English commentating crew comes in from home and do their own English commentary for it, and then we get it like 2-3 days later. They only do like a handful of things live anyway, so it allows him to kind of do both companies. And Tony Khan is okay with that, knowing that out of the year he might only miss like 6 events during the G1 and Tag League, because those are like live every day in English. But I love everything with Kevin Kelly. You pair him up with Nigel McGuinness, you get that fresh duo that work with each other. Like I said earlier with Ring of Honor, I think they did a great job. It was more slow paced. Once he gets acclimated with the wrestlers, because he knows guys, but knows working with them, saying their names, and getting that rapport back up with Nigel, it's going to be a great get, because he's one of those unsung heroes of commentary that people don't see because he's overworking in Japan, because he knows everything. Like, he's basically the guy that knows a lot. He's Excalibur to me, but in Japan. He knows all the guys. The guys respect him. He's always prepared. And he's just a great sound when it hits. It's not on Wednesday. Like, I like Wednesday's commentating crew, but I think this one's going to be better because of him. And it brings you back to like the Jim Ross of the Attitude Era, where it was that voice that you just knew was there, you could trust, and you got into. And I think he's going to be that guy moving forward. And I think he's with AEW now. I'm intrigued to see if he leaves New Japan, because New Japan really love him. Like that's their guy. That's their voice. I could see him doing both, but I also could see him leave, and then it leaves the whole New Japan. But it would be easily filled, because I think the partnership, AEW would help replace him. Like, I've thought about names of guys that could go there. I kind of feel like maybe we could see a guy like Mauro Ranallo come back and do something
Love
like
Mauro.
that. Because he's
Yeah.
been clamoring to do more since he's only doing Showtime right now in boxing and MMA. He's been looking to get back into wrestling since he left WWE. And there's been talks that he could fill in for Kevin Kelly next month, because they're going to have to fill Kevin Kelly's spot for 3 episodes in July when he's gone, and then probably 2 more. So I'm intrigued to see what happens now that Kelly's in AEW.
Jamie, what you got on Kevin Kelly?
Kevin Kelly is great. Always has been, always will be. But, the pairing with Nigel McGuinness, it's a classic lineup. And it's great. And it adds a production value to the Collusion show that makes me absolutely feel like it is the vision of what ROH was supposed to be back in the day, what they had their mindset on for the future of ROH, and they're putting it out in this show as it is. That was my exact thought watching the show. I'm kind of curious to go on to the point you said with maybe having Mauro Ranallo, fill in for those shows. I think the Japanese slot over at New Japan would be a perfect slot for him, because you're only working those select dates. The thing with Ranallo, with his mental illnesses and stuff that he has, And I know the busy WWE schedule really got to him. So with the light schedule, like the one permitted working for New Japan, that would be an absolute money slot for him, and I think he would excel at that.
There's one small thing that happened at the end of a collision that like I really loved, and it's we don't see it because it only happens in New Japan, but you had Jay White walk out with Bullet Club Gold, and he gets out of the ring, and you see him interact with Kevin Kelly, and Kevin Kelly goes, I know, we know each other. It's good seeing you again." And it's that interaction Kevin Kelly has with the wrestlers that it's very small and nonchalant, but it's very comedic because if you watch New Japan, you see it all the time with Kevin Kelly and guys. He would do it all the time. Jay White, El Fantasmo, Kenta, all of them, and it's there just to like get you a little bit more invested because you normally don't see the wrestlers interact with the commentators that much, and they do it a lot over there.
Well, this is one that I'm excited to talk about because did my phone deceive me, or is the chaps loving boss bitch herself live with everyone's favorite chef by trade and my soulless ginger boy toy? Yes, Matt, your eyes do not deceive you. That is factual what's happening right now. Thanks for stopping by. We love you. There is talks of adding to Dynamite in upcoming weeks a concession stand brawl, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to kick back. We're going to jump in the Wayback Machine. You know me. I love old wrestling. Jerry Lawler, the Blonde Bombers.
Moondogs.
Yeah, the Moondogs were in one. The original one was Lawler against the Blonde Bombers. But the point is, like, the whole soul of what the concession stand brawl was in Tupelo, it was so bad and they caused so much damage that the promoter didn't make any money that night. You know what I mean? Like, this was such a cool moment in wrestling, and TK is going to bring it back. I'm kind of personally lukewarm on the two people in the match, but being an homage to what it is, Daddy Briscoe and Double J Jeff Jarrett in a concession stand brawl. This is the talks about adding it possibly to TV. Al, it's your turn. What do you think about Daddy Briscoe and Double J being in like a hardcore street fight style match, like a concession stand brawl?
Someone's gonna break a hip.
Fair enough.
No, I mean, I've seen Jeff Jarrett. You know, we saw him at Ric Flair's last match. We saw him at Ricky the Dragon.
We saw him at SummerSlam as a guest referee.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not... It's not Daddy Briscoe, it's just Mark.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I misread then. Thank you, Katie.
Well, then Jeff Jarrett's gonna...
Definitely break
multiple
multiple hips then.
I mean, like, Mark Briscoe's amazing, so, like, I think it's gonna be a good match, and they're comfortable with each other, and they've done a lot of stuff together, so honestly, I think it's gonna be a good match, as much as, like, I think that sometime these older guys should not bring it back. He's not doing the worst job I've seen. So, I mean, I'm not super mad at it. I think it'll be fun.
Jamie, what do you think about Mark Briscoe versus Double J? Not Daddy Briscoe. I'm glad Katie corrected me for that because...
It's going to be the best match on the card.
Yeah?
It's going to be the best match on the card, at least in my eyes, because I am a mark for the old school, and I am totally going to love every second of it. I love Jeff Jarrett. I'm that guy. I also love the Briscoe brothers, and seeing Mark go out there and do his thing on national television against a guy like, fuck yeah. Anyways, getting to go out and do his thing on national TV against a guy like Jeff Jarrett, who is a professional, and, to pretty much bring back to life a old classic gimmick match and do it to the best of the abilities that they could absolutely do it. I'm going to be super pumped for this one. And it's going to be a great addition, and more people are going to be able to see what, at least, because these guys are students of the game, so they're going to put on a true to heart what Concession Brawl really is. Sorry for my long-winded answer.
There's no such thing as a long-winded answer in Botched, and Share Shots. We do whatever the fuck we want. Especially like tonight. Anything goes. We can do whatever we want. I better change the banner over. Hold on. Boom, anything goes. Now it's official. Now we can do whatever the fuck we want with Dan and Jamey. Yay! Bankley, what you think about doing a fucking good old-fashioned hardcore concession stand brawl? What you got on it?
I'll keep it short. This match, it is going to be this Wednesday. They announced it. So it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a nice match to lead up into Forbidden Door, everybody's gonna be lying if they said that they wouldn't look into watching Jeff Jarrett get his ass kicked in a match like this, because he's there to get people booing him, to put over Mark Briscoe. Everybody likes the Briscoe brothers, and Mark Briscoe is gonna take the damage. He's gonna be bleeding, but he's gonna get the victory. And Jeff Jarrett will take all the heat. He'll take all the damage back, and he will let Mark beat him, because that's what he's been doing the last couple of years. He's been the guy putting other guys over. He's okay with doing it. He knows that his role is the guy to take all the heat for the baby face, and that's what's going to happen. It's going to make Mark look extra big after the match.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed. I got one more AEW New Japan thing, and then we're gonna make Ritter real pissed because we're gonna talk about Impact.
No, I got one for him.
What do you got?
So I'm like going down this like rabbit hole I found on Twitter because Matt Riddle posted a Father's Day picture of him and his kids, and his daughter is literally throwing up the blood hand sign. Like,
Quit banging on the show before you get a shot. We live in a rough part of town.
Like, the fact that he, like, posted his, like, minor daughter, like, throwing that up, I think is... Sorry, I got distracted by a Twitter rabbit hole.
So, guys, do we think unanimously that 12-year-olds throwing up gang signs is probably in poor taste?
I mean, but it's Matt Riddle. Everything he's done is pretty much been in poor taste. So it's not surprising at this point.
Agreed.
Status quo, maybe.
Yeah, fuck Matt Riddle. If they fired Mandy Rose for showing her naughty bits on the internet, why does he still have a job?
Yeah.
Bakley. Mox. Despy. 2 nights. The New Japan Strong Independence Day show, 4th of July weekend. Tag match night 1 with the 187 Homicide and Moxley teaming up and going against Despy and his boy. Then night 2 is the final death match. My question for you, what do you think about Moxley and Despy using 2 nights to tell their story versus trying to cram it all into one big match?
And I think that the first match was in your backyard, essentially. It was over there in Tennessee where they had that death match the first time. And
yeah, that was at StarCast last summer because it was the random New Japan show that had a Jon Moxley death match that we stumbled upon. We didn't even realize it was happening. We were just at the venue looking for something to do before SummerSlam, and it just happened to be a New Japan show.
Yeah, I like that they worked very well that match. I've been looking forward to a rematch ever since then. And they've just been able to, pull it back out. They're going to be in Japan, so that makes it even better. Desperado is a big get there. The crowd loves him over there. And you get a guy like Moxley who isn't doing much over there. He's not really doing much over in AEW right now, in between of course, the Stadium Arcade match that they just had, and Anarchy in the Arena match. And now he gets to work with Desperado. The tag match is really cool because you get Homicide to come over there. And then the guy that is partnered with Desperado, they had the same match. They had a hardcore match on, what's his name? On on he's in Just Five Guys, and he was in WWE, the lightweight champion. Taka Michinoku.
Oh, okay.
Taka Michinoku's he runs like an indie event over there, and
Michinoku Pro Wrestling, my guy, MPW.
He had one where Desperado and his partner had a crazy one where they were both bleeding. Desperado's mask was ripped halfway off. He had thumbtacks in his head, and he won the match. It was a great match, and that's why he's partnering up with him, because he was like, I need to get you in this match because you know how it feels to be in these types of matches, and we're going up against Moxley and Homicide, two hardcore guys. It makes for a great match, and that's only night one. And then you got them going again the next day. These guys are going to fucking need to go to the hospital after 2 days because they're going to be losing so much blood. I wouldn't be surprised if they had scars at the end of it, because everybody kind of over here that knows El Desperado, they don't know how good he is as a worker. He has grown on me over the last 2-3 years. He's gone from just a junior heavyweight random guy to a superstar, in my opinion. He's doing all these matches. He's wrestled Okada. He's wrestled Moxley already. He's wrestled Omega. He's done great jobs with whoever he wrestles, and he's going to put over Moxley. I think Desperado and his partner will win the tag match, but then I think Moxley will beat him in the second match. But he's going to make Moxley look golden because that's what he does.
Jimmy, you watch a lot of New Japan?
No, I don't. But when it comes to New Japan, shout out to my guy, Arkansas versus everybody, Buck Skinner, who actually showed out in his match at the Dojo Showcase versus Fred Rozier. So,
hell yeah! I know some people are iffy with Japanese wrestling. Some people haven't, yeah.
I mean, when I do watch it, I love it. Sometimes I'll go back and watch like old Wrestle Kingdoms, but I just with time constraints, I'm not really tuning into a lot of New Japan.
Okay, so remove the product out of the equation then and look at just kind of the equation they're using. What do you think about going through and using 2 nights to tell the story? Like the way they're doing it, doing the tag match on night 1 and then having the death match. Like, what do you think about the way Despy and Moxley are telling their story using it?
Just kind of from what I'm, I guess, hearing. I mean, I don't know, man, but I mean, it sounds good. I mean, I know in traditional wrestling it goes week to week, so, but that their audience is conditioned to that type of thing, so it works for them. So,
ow,
Will,
this is a you question. All right, Jordan Grace dropped the Impact's Knockouts Championship. I forgot for a second what the name of the company was. I apologize. She recently dropped the Impact's Knockout Championship. Deonna Purrazzo and all those ladies are going crazy with it. Jordan Grace, however, graced the free agent market. You see what I did there? It was a fucking pun. She graced the free agent market recently. Do you think, as somebody who's seen Grace work both on TV and real life in multiple promotions, like, do you think going into the summer of 2023 that Jordan Grace is the hottest female free agent in 2023 not named Mercedes Moné?
I think so. But I would, unfortunately, this summer is not going to give her a lot of options as WWE has a hiring freeze and they have to cut $50 million by the end of July. I also can't picture her going to AEW after how they treated her husband. So, yeah, she's the hottest ticket, but she's got nowhere really to go.
Beckley, what you think about Jordan Grace?
There's a lot of options for her, even without that. Like, look at, I know Mercedes Moné is a huge name, and she's trying to build, but who says that Mercedes Moné's not calling up Jordan Grace? Hey, you should go to New Japan Strong and help me build this, because seeing those two females wrestling each other would be something I would watch any day because they're two different styles, and we've seen that somebody kind of out of place sometimes works best because you wouldn't think that Jordan Grace would go there. Allison has a point. WWE's in a hiring freeze. I wouldn't feel like she would fit there anyway because she wouldn't be like the WWE format in my opinion. With her leaving Impact, I thought maybe she would have resigned, but if she resigned, they wouldn't be talking about this. AEW could work because her husband did fall back on what he said, and he was like, they had issues with me, but then I didn't handle it the right way. We talked, and now it's okay now. Like, I might not be working there, but it's like we've kind of hashed things out a little bit. So maybe knowing that she was a free agent, maybe he did that to kind of mitigate things for his wife, who could eventually go there. So with all that said and done, there's always New Japan who's trying to build a division there in the States. You get Monet, you got Will Nightingale, who's the champion right now. You get somebody like Grace, and that's like a good startup to where you can get them, bring people in and out. She'll make money. She has that market value already, being one of the top female wrestlers in Impact. You know, whenever people talk about women, Impact's one of those companies that always comes up first because they always do the knockouts the best. They always have great matches. They actually defend their tag titles all the time. Mm-hmm. They have 6, 7, 8 deep, and they know how to tell a story. So I think if she's not going to go back, New Japan would be a great place to go to, knowing that AEW and WWE might not be options for her right now.
Yeah, because she'll get buried on both of those rosters.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, Jamie, Noob says, I believe that Jordan Grace will do great, but the hottest free agent is still the Russian crush, Natalia Markova. We just saw Natalia work against Camille at the Crockett Cup, and I was thoroughly impressed with that match. Like, she held her own against a strong NWA World Champion. So, big shout-outs to Noob and Natalia for that.
Speaking of that, what would you think of Jordan Grace versus Camille?
I would love that. That would be a great fucking matchup. Jamie, what do you think about Jordan Grace, and where's a good possible landing spot for her?
Literally just said it. I was going to be like, if, Billy Corgan wants to really throw his money where his mouth is, you pick up a signee like Jordan Grace and you just immediately throw her in the picture against Camille and run a all-summer program. That's how you do it.
A couple more Impact things. Moose re-signed today. He signed the longest tenured Impact contract in the company's history, meaning his contract will be longer than anybody else's has ever been. Just real quick, do you guys think that's a good signing for Impact? Do you think Moose is the future of the company? Like, for him to have the longest contract, meaning he'll be there after everybody's on contract now is gone, Moose will still be there, meaning they think he's going to be the guy. Is he the one? Noob says he's definitely an Impact lifer. Do you guys think Moose is the right move?
I don't think he's necessarily the one or necessarily the face of the company, but he's a guy you want in your locker room, on your roster. He's going to be that locker room leader. He's going to be the guy who's always going to be there for whenever the company needs him to be there for. So absolutely, it's the right move, the right pickup for Impact, and Moose, company guy, short and sweet.
He's going to be all about the company. When you think of the guys at the top of that roster, he's going to probably be there long term over all of them. Like, I could see Josh Alexander possibly still there, but then he could get huge and go elsewhere if he wanted to. But you want that guy opposite of Josh Alexander if he stays, because then you got that good guy and you got that bad guy, and then you're set from there with everybody else. Like, you got the Motor City Machine Guns that are getting up there in age. You got Bully Ray, he's getting up there in age. You got Nick Aldis, he's getting up there in age.
He's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, but you don't know how long he's going to be there as well. So when you got a guy like Moose who's been there for years, he's been a babyface, he's been a heel, he's been a multi-time champ. He's done it all there. He's worked the mid-card, opening match. He's worked the main event scene. He's worked with at least almost everybody on that roster, and there's never a bad thing to say about him when it comes to being in the ring. So when it was paramount to come in, he wanted to be there.
Thanks for the follow, Snipey.
And they wanted him to be there, so it made sense. It's worth it. He's been putting in the work. Like, I see him on Instagram working with everybody. Like, they had him at the Natalia and Tyson Kidd's warehouse working with them. He puts in the work. Like, I just love Moose. And Moose is just a great wrestler, and he deserves to have that long-term contract to, like, have that comfort behind him.
Al, you got anything to say about Moose?
I mean, I've seen wrestle a few times. I don't know a whole lot about Moose in particular, but I mean, he's really great in Impact.
Fair enough. This is kind of a blanket question for everybody. You can throw your 2 cents in. Motor City Machine Guns holds all the gold. Saban's the X Division champion. Shelley's the Impact World champion. Do we think it's just to break up the Motor City Machine Guns? Like, is this what it is? Is Saban going to utilize Option C, cash in the X Division, vacate it, and take his world title shot and to go against Shelley? Do we think that's the natural built-in story here?
Yes.
No, I don't think it is. I think they're going to, because I feel like with the match at Slammiversary, Nick Aldis turning heel. You're going to have him win the belt because eventually you're going to get Josh Alexander coming back. You still got Steve Macklin. Somehow you're going to have the more title picture between the three of those guys. And I think Nick Aldis turning heel was a nice mix-up. And it's just like a testament to Iron, the Motor City Machine Guns. You get Chris Sabin, who is setting records for the X Division title, and then you get Alex Shelley conquering those demons and finally winning the title.
Getting the big one.
Getting the big one that's kind of haunted him. So he gets that, but you know that happened last time with Chris Sabin, and he lost it the next month back to Boy Ray. I think he loses it to Aldis, and I think Sabin might lose his as well, depending on who he faces at Slammiversary and defends it. I think it's just a way to honor those two guys who have been synonymous with Impact TNA for over, 20 years?
Yeah, Chris Sabin debuted like 2 weeks into the company, I feel like. That's not an exact thing, don't quote me, but he's been around forever. I agree with what Jamey said. I kind of think it's a built-in story. I see the Motor City Machine Guns splitting up for at least a short time because of this. But if they don't and they lose their titles and it projects them back into the tag title scene, I won't be mad about them going against the Bullet Club. You know what I mean? Ace Austin and Chris Bay.
Here's the question. Saying that, they would have to get past Slammiversary to do that because, you know, you have Slammiversary, and then they always do, in the summertime, they always do that Option C thing. Does that mean you waste the match with Nick Aldis, knowing that you just brought him back and now you're having him lose?
Well, you could have Chris Sabin fuck Aldis out of the title.
Yeah, that's also true.
And just be like, I'm right here.
Or he cost...
I know we're boys, but I have this right here.
Yeah.
And that means the target's on you.
He cost Aldis the title and saves his boy so that he can immediately go, no, I want the title. And
Absolutely.
so it would be the best of both worlds. We could get what all of us are saying that way.
Well, when you start booking the territories together, brother.
That's what I'm saying. Just let me have the fucking pencil, guys. Speaking of, apparently they still wrestle out of the Connecticut territory. There's still a company up there. Coming out of the WWE camp, I don't have a lot because everybody talks ad nauseum about WWE news. But something I'm hyped for, Bobby Lashley made an in-ring return in a house show. Are we hyped for Bobby Lashley being back?
I'm hyped.
Yeah, always. Bobby's
I like
great.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Just shocked that they haven't used it that much since the draft.
You guys will never be. You'll be shocked to hear this. An AEW employee had comments to make about WWE. Want me to read them to you? Mark Henry says that the WWE needs to pour gasoline on the fire that is LA Knight. He's saying they need to push LA Knight to the moon. A lot of people say LA Knight is just kind of a prepackaged copy and paste from the Attitude Era. Do you guys think he's as red hot as the crowds are making him out to be?
Absolutely. And the thing about LA Knight is, he's hot, and this is the moment where you probably do need to do something with him, because it's going to, even if it's a mid-card title, there's a short period where, because he is up in age, and that's the thing, he could win or lose and still be as red hot. He's just one of those guys. He'll absolutely get his heat back, and right now he's a crowd favorite. They're kind of playing him face right now, but there's only a fine opportunity that they have in a very short window, just because he's up in age. And the thing I do fear, I don't think he's going to be a world champion in the company, just because of age and what they're wanting to do with that picture at the moment. And I just feel by the time they're actually going to be clear of what they're trying to do, it's going to be too late. So with that being said, if he does win Money in the Bank, it's not going to go after a world title. But they do need to do something with the momentum that they're riding off with LA Knight. So
I think he's going to wind up cashing in on Gunther, and that's how Gunther loses without killing his momentum.
Absolutely.
Because it would be because of a cash-in, where you can have him get beat after, say, like a match or something. You get LA Knight coming out, and then you have him pin him, and he's the new Intercontinental Champion, and it gives you a reason to move Gunther up to the main event scene, because I do think he's going to be the guy to beat Seth Rollins for that title. Because I think at Mania, everybody wants to talk about Cody and Roman. I think it's going to be Cody and Gunther at Mania. And then on the other side, it gives you a reason to then do Seth and Roman, because of all like the little tidbits and everything. And then ever since Royal Rumble, watching the kind of like the 20-minute match within the Royal Rumble match with Cody and Gunther, they did great as the final two. Everybody got into it. They're invested into it. And now there's been talks of doing it again. And that would give you a reason to do it on the biggest stage. And I think it all starts with LA Knight, who, if you watch tonight, he didn't even do the LA Knight. He went to do it, and he just didn't say anything because he wanted everybody to hear the fans say it, and they're very loud, and you can understand it because they're so red hot into what he had to say. He's become a fan favorite without even trying to, because he's great on the mic, and he'd be a great Intercontinental Champion to where you can kind of reward him for it, but then you're not kind of moving him to the main event scene and to waste briefcase cashing. And I think that's why they were kind of changing the wording on cashing in. They're like, you can cash in on anybody now, not just on the world champion. I think by doing that, they kind of gave themselves away of what they're trying to do.
But they're also, in that same fashion, protecting the credibility of the briefcase itself, because there has been recently many failed cash-ins, so you got to find a way to at least give it some sort of credibility back.
Well, guys, we did it. I told you I wouldn't hold you here much longer than an hour. We would get in, we'd get the job done, we'd talk about some headlines, we'd tell us what made us pissed off for greatness. I'll get you riled up right before midnight, and then we'll just be done for the night. So I would absolutely go for another hour or two. The best part about it is we can do it whenever we want. But in the meantime, before we get back on, Jamey, plug your stuff. Tell everybody to find you, what you got going on it off the top, all of that nonsense.
Yeah, you can follow me in the Off the Top Boys OTT. Yeah, you know me, right over on Twitch, the Twitter kick, which is what we're trying to start on now with some other projects, other stuff like that. We got great content, great shows like Career Retrospective with Nate, some Friday Night Review with my boy Cam, and other stuff that will be in the works soon. Some exciting stuff coming to Off the Top. I'm just glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad to be here tonight. You can find me on my socials at Jamey Rose X, pretty much anywhere you can find me. Other places, please don't find me because I'm not your guy, but I will be your buddy. With that, keep on rocking in the free world. Thank you, Will.
Love you, Jamie. Dirty Dan, tell everybody what you got going on.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. You see my Twitter handle right there at CageIQ. You can also find me at the Bloodline Entertainment Network, which is Twitter at the Bloodline ENT. I'm coming out with my UFC Jacksonville picks and predictions tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so you can check that out. On Thursday, I'm going to be part of WrestleBread. We're going to be doing a panel for Forbidden Door predictions. And I'm also going to be on the Word Elite podcast Thursday night as well, doing the same thing, talking a little bit of news and then doing Forbidden Door predictions. But you can find me every Wednesday night doing my UFC predictions. And I'm going to be trying to do a little bit more wrestling as well.
I'm about to confuse everybody really bad because she's missing from the screen, but Al, tell everybody where to find you anyways.
Sorry, my computer, shit the bed. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at JustAGirl918. I had a really good idea for a Hill support group comic that I'm actually going to shoot this week because I have a really good idea. So be on the lookout for a comic, guys.
Al's computer, as Amber heard, it shit the bed.
It did shit the bed. I can't get anything to fucking load. Ugh.
It's fine. We're at the end anyways. Jamie went. Bakley went. Al went. My turn. Housekeeping. I've got graphics for this now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you check the link in your counterfeit computer for sure. If you check the link in the description, you will see down below you'll see the Angry Lemonades. Check the link. All the Botched Bots and Chair Shots merch. We've got some cool stuff coming down the pipe there. Make sure you check that out for me. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link your Amazon Prime subscription to your Twitch, and you get a free subscription. Pass it our way. Give it to us. Nobody needs to give Jeff Bezos any more money than what that man already has, so fuck him. Give us the subscription for free. Also, in that same description, you will see the Discord link. It's a really barren place right now, but once again, in some of the stuff we're talking about working on, these things are going to be really exciting. So check it out while you can. Look out on Tuesday. I've got my feature with Big Strong Matthew Mims from the NWA on the Bloodline Network. He'll be my Superstar Showcase this week. That'll be super cool. I've got Twitch coming from the Monster Factory. That's super cool. I'm doing a feature on independent wrestler Michael Wayne, who went through a neck fusion surgery and had to go through some really adverse things with some injury. I've got some really cool written features coming. But most importantly, really, if you like the music and sounds and beats that you hear, follow our boy _Hill Tactics, Justin Jaylan on the beat. He's responsible for all the production as far as music and beats you hear for Nerdy News and Botched Spots and all the stuff happening on Rivet City Radio. He's the man. I'll do my shout-outs. I always do those. One of the last things I do is follow Wrestling with the Truth, Ted the Hillbilly Hill. It's Creation World. That's Lord Cusselot, MATTRIDDER, Matt Ritter, Katie, SES Vince, Marta, Shark, Watkins. Follow the Bloodline Entertainment Network. That's our boy Bakley. UW Podcast, Circle of Debate, World Elite. Follow my boys at Off the Top. That's Jamie. He's on this side. That side. Jamie. Shadow. Scowls, Cam, Nate. Follow all my boys there. Follow the Broken Wrestling Podcast. That's Haley. She's British. She's awesome. Michael Wayne. Follow the Queen of Wrestle Talk, our girl Sammy. Follow Kai Tai and RN, Smacked Raw. And follow fellow dirt sheet rider extraordinaire Lee Walker at Perched on the Top Rope. Do it. Follow all of our friends. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've done all the damage we can do. But now, as we close another episode of Botched, and Share Shots, I want to take a minute. Thank you for listening. Remind you to go wherever you do anything on the internet, like, follow, subscribe, unsubscribe, then subscribe again. Leave a comment telling me how great I am or how great Jamey looks. Either way, it helps the algorithm. It helps find new listeners. If you're feeling really generous and be one of the VIP people, head over to Rivet City Radio Podcast Network on Patreon.com. Donate to the Rivet City Radio Podcast Network. We get some fantastic swag. You get some fantastic guests. It's a win-win for my brother Jamey Rose from Off the Top, for my brother Dan Bakley from the Bloodline Entertainment Network, and for the ghost boss bitch Allison Siegel. There she is. I am the Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.